It's 6:30 and I'm calling this meeting, June meeting to order. So we'll go with the roll call.
Please, sure. Supervisor Hewitt.
Here.
Trustee Robinson.
Here.
Trustee Page.
Here.
Trustee McGovern.
Here.
Trustee Geis.
Here.
Assessor Trowbridge.
Here.
Commissioner Young.
Great, we'll have a pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Okay, then we'll have, we can get public comment. Okay, George Phillips,
Yes.
if you have a public comment.
I'm just glad to be here. I've been through the AM. I've been here now, doing volunteer work for about almost a year. And I got a offer to work part-time and I'm excited about it. I met Mr. Barry Robinson and Jane Page already. And I'm just glad to be here.
Thank you, sir. Then Mark Spiegling, there's a public comment.
Yeah, I'm just glad to be here too. Agenda looks pretty straightforward and hopefully we'll get through public business tonight.
Thank you. And then Paula Deacon Garcia.
Thanks. I'm here as my usual. It's the 8th year going on for the garden and we've got a great start going on there. I am here to give my thank yous to at least a couple of organizations. Woolhouse Sunrise Gardens, they donated all the vegetable plants for us. And then we had the Sheriff's Work Alternative Program. They spent 8 hours here moving the dirt, compost, and mulch into the garden. We started this again 8 years ago when we were all a little bit younger. And we are all a little bit older right now, as I think I've talked to a few of you here, so their help was wonderful. I also fractured 3 ribs, so I was a little bit out of, but back. And then I also wanted to let the board and supervisor know that I applied for a grant from the Lisle Community Service Corporation, and we just got approved for that. So that paid for all of the mulch, dirt, and the compost, and some of the seeds for the pollinator plants.
Awesome.
So that's being paid for.
Thank you
So,
for everything you do.
oh, sure. So if I can just give this paperwork in to someone here to send a thank you note to the 2 top ones, that would be great. You, thank you.
Okay, and then I had online a request from Yosh Yamanaka.
Yes, good evening. I'm Yosh Yamanaka, reporting on behalf of the Mental Health Board, and I have some very good news for the township. Our 708 board has received 2 deposits from DuPage County, and we are now in a position to repay the monies that the township so graciously has advanced to the Mental Health Board. We're awaiting a final accounting and we'll be making a loan repayment after it is authorized at the June 26th meeting. We have received 20 grant applications totaling more than $1.25 million in requested funding for mental health services for Lisle Township residents. At our next board meeting, we expect to decide on which agencies to fund and at what levels. Our grants will total approximately $850,000. Next, we will enter into contract negotiations with the various agencies and expect to begin dispersing the first of our quarterly payments in July and August. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and then we, I didn't have any more people signed up for the public comment, so public comment is closed. Next, we have discussion and possible action about making a job offer to George Phillips for part-time service to serve as the backup driver and help in the food pantry. Interim Township Administrator Jim Marino, can you let us introduce the
Supervisor Hewitt. My apologies. I didn't realize I had to. You usually ask for public comment from the
We do, but we have, in the rules, it says that we need to make sure that people sign up in advance for this. I apologize, but we can't take it right now. So thank you, Claire. Mr. Marino?
Thank you. Good evening. In your packet, there's information about the part-time position of food pantry assistant. This would be the assistant to the food pantry director. This is a position that was discussed during budget discussions last March, and $25,000 was included in the budget for this position. Jordan, our food pantry director, had suggested that we consider George Phillips, who spoke earlier about the position. He had indicated an interest in the position. He's a volunteer with the food pantry. He's been volunteering for a year. He's worked very closely with Jordan most of that time and has been involved in nearly every aspect of the food pantry operation. He's been quite an asset when Jordan is absent. George has been able to help out and fill in his capacity. So it made sense to consider George for this position on a hired basis in a part-time role. So what he would do is essentially be Jordan's right-hand person, assisting him as he currently does, and then take on some additional responsibilities if necessary for Jordan. He would work his current schedule, which is basically Monday 10 to 4, Wednesday 10 to 4, and Friday 8 to 4, with the understanding Jordan would have some flexibility to adjust his schedule as needed, at times when they may have to make adjustments. But the plan was that he would work on average 20 hours a week and less than 1,000 hours per year. The other thing that was talked about for this position when we discussed the budget was trying to have this person possibly serve as the second driver for the transportation program. And as you recall, this is a requirement that PACE has, that the township needs to have a second driver, which it doesn't currently have. At this time, there's no need to have a regular second driver, but it makes sense to have a second driver as a backup. And PACE does require we have at least one person designated to fulfill that role, even though they may not be driving on a regular basis. But there are times when our current driver, Joe, is absent, either ill or takes time off. And when that happens, we have to cancel any scheduled rides, or else not schedule them when we know he's going to be off. So we don't have a backup person for that right now. So by having the assistant food pantry assistant fill that position as a backup role, and that would be George. George would be able to fill in for Joe on an as-needed basis. I don't expect that would happen very often, but I do know that upcoming in the next few weeks, Joe is going to be taking a week's-long vacation. So that's one example of when, we would need a backup driver. Without having that, then you go a full week with, residents not receiving that transportation service. I spoke to George about his ability and interest in serving in that capacity. He's more than willing to do so. I think he's got the experience to do so, as he worked as a truck driver for many years. So certainly has a lot of experience driving. We would have to go through a training program, of course, meet the PACE requirements. Also go through our requirements for a background check, medical exam, drug screening, of course, and go through training required by PACE. And then we would have to also spend some time with Joe driving around, getting familiar with the general route, and also the dispatching software that is used to schedule the rides. So with that, this is for you to consider hiring George, making an offer, and of course that offer would be contingent upon him meeting all these requirements.
Thank you, Township Administrator. Is there a motion so that we can go into discussion, or?
Well, I make a motion to make an offer to George as the part-time assistant in the food pantry under the conditions as outlined by the Lisle Township Administrator.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Robinson and Trustee Page. Any discussion?
I have a question. I think.
So Trustee Geis,
Yeah.
raise our hands. Thank you.
We I'd like to make a motion to dismiss the rule of raising our hand to speak. We've been very successful at speaking in these meetings in a respectful way. And since it's a discussion, it would be more conducive if we could actually have exchanges. So can I make that motion, please? Because it's worked in the last couple of meetings.
There's already a motion pending, but your comment is noted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, my only comment, I don't think that there's any question that the need exists. We can't expect Jonah to take a holiday. We can't expect to put our clients at a deficit because someone has to, have to enjoy a day off, right? So I think it's a great idea. My only request is that that in the future, anything that we do with the pantry, that maybe we consider the person who's leading the pantry committee to just be part of the conversation. That's all. And just to be part of, I think we're working really hard to work together, but now it looks like we're starting to operate in some silos, and that's not collaborative. And especially for the only person at this table who actually works in staffing, it would have just been nice to be part of, had a seat at the table, right? And I've missed many seats at the table throughout my life, so I'm not offended. But this was a seat that I definitely would have liked to be part of. So I just would like to state that into record.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
The only thing that I'm gonna mention is that you said that we have to wait for the
Trustee
background,
Page, thank you.
background checks. I just want to say the focus right now is on the food pantry, right? We needed help in the food pantry. And so if the driving can come about as an extra to this, that's excellent. But right now, I think the food pantry, focus on that is more important.
I would agree.
Understood. Definitely.
Okay, any other discussion?
I have a question.
Any other discussion?
I'm raising my hand. Oh, I'm not gonna be allowed.
So this is discussion among the board members.
Yeah, I'm on the board. Look at the meeting, look at the meeting
Can we just
rules.
please have the
On the,
conversation?
on the first sentence, it says that the clerk is part of the board.
1 second.
We had spoke about this, I think it's been a year ago. that we
1
had
second.
said that everyone was a board member. And I don't, why are we being confused? Just leave it for-
So we cannot overrun state law, which says that the township board consists of the 4 trustees and the supervisor. So the highway commissioner, the assessor, and the clerk. You all have an agenda topic for you all. And so I'm not,
But
this
we
is right
voted
now a
as
board
board.
discussion.
We have, but we
But
have.
voted as a
Again,
board.
this is board discussion.
Supervisor, if I may,
Yes, sir.
because there is a conflict. I've spoke with Attorney Steckler about this. As the current rules stand, the board lists the township assessor and township clerk. They don't have voting powers, but they do have the right to make a comment or anything like that. Because they are listed as board
Thank you.
members. So
We've talked
if you
about
would like,
this
just to
before.
make the meeting move along, just raise their comment and we can move on to roll call.
Okay, so they're
The non-voting members.
So
of the
that
board.
means that they only get 2 minutes, correct?
Sure.
Okay,
2
So,
minutes?
3
How
minutes.
about 3? I don't need 3, but
okay.
We
We'll
just
go with
wasted
3
3.
then.
I also would like to, am I being recognized? I'm sorry.
Clerk Palovitz.
I'll start with this. If there's going to be rule changes or the way we're running things to be changed, if you could give us a heads up to that, so when we walk into the meeting, we are clear of what is going to be happening, that would be so helpful, I think, for everyone. The other part, I just wanted to ask what the process is now for hiring people. Is it, who's interviewing? Is it the personnel committee as a whole? Like, what are the steps that we're using to hire someone? So we're clear every time we're doing it the same way.
Because the whole board is supposed to sit on each committee. Yeah.
Trustee, you haven't been recognized.
sorry.
Trustee Geis, do you have anything else? Clerk Palovitz.
So that's my question is how are we going about hiring people? What are the steps we're going to be taking to hire people?
Okay, that's being directed to whom? Clerk Polowitz?
Both the supervisor and the township administrator, and then the board.
Okay,
Oh,
well, this is a discussion and, township administrator,
Sorry, point of order. We're discussing made an off-job offer for one individual. We're not discussing a hiring process.
Right.
okay,
Okay,
so
sorry,
then I will go
apologies.
back and say, how did this process work to hire this individual? Same question, I'm just wording it differently. I just didn't, this is not anything, well, that's my question. How did the process go to come to this point to hire?
So Township Administrator Marino.
The process, as I understood it, was to talk with the chairperson of the Personnel Committee, Trustee Page, which I did, so I reached out to her, and the process went on from there.
The applicant went to.
Trustee
the township
Page.
Admin, the applicant did not come to me. So
Trustee McGovern.
I just wanted to note that I was under this understanding that we did discuss hiring in together in our personnel committee. So if we weren't able to get together, I think that we should have exchanged a chain of communication. Not that I'm not thrilled that you're here and, you know, able to do the job that we have described and needed. But I think it is proactive to discuss any kind of hiring within personnel first. So I don't know if I have any more questions, but
Okay,
it does leave a gap in communication.
okay, and reminder that
It's-
we
yes.
have for each board agenda item, there's only 2 times that each board member can speak. So Trustee Geist, and this
will
is
be
your
my final-
second
yeah,
time
this is
for
my
2
final-
minutes.
I got you. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Being recognized. I think that that's true. We 100% recognize the need. But, you know, we're trying to move forward and it just appears that some trustees are working with the supervisor and the township administrator and not including all of the board members and decisions. Again, it's not even that we had to necessarily have a meeting, but there was no discussion. I learned that we were interviewing someone just because someone happened to see the interview happening. And I think we need to do better. And I think as a board, everyone wants to get past the nonsense and the chaos, but this just created more of it because it's breaking down the trust and the line of communication amongst us. So that's it. That's all I have to say.
Trustee Robinson,
No decision is made to hire until he's presented to the full board. That's what tonight is for. So that's all I want to say.
Isn't the board
Okay,
action
so
approve of
right
hiring
there-
of George Phillips to fill the position? of
Trustee
superintendent?
McGovern, would you like to be recognized?
Yes, I'm
And this is
confused about the board.
second. This is the second time to speak. But Trustee Page has spoken twice. We're about to get through everybody's ability to speak and then we can come back.
Again, it's your turn, we'll say.
That is exactly what the meeting rules say. Yes, it does.
So I'm confused about Barry's comment. I would just like clarification, Trustee Robinson's comment, because in my packet, I saw that the board action is to approve the hiring.
That's not a discussion.
That's not, yeah.
And we need to not have side conversations with that. That's again in the meeting rules. So in order for us to be recognized, we need to raise our hands and go from there. Any other person that hasn't spoken twice? Okay, Trustee Page.
I sent an email out in April asking for a personnel committee meeting and I got no response.
Got it.
Then you need to check your email. That's not on me, okay? The email went out in April 19th.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Oh, no,
Wait a minute,
no,
trustee
no,
Page.
no,
If you
no.
don't hear from
Trustee,
someone,
guys,
it's not.
you're not
it's
being recognized right now.
irresponsible.
Right
Not
now,
maybe I sent
Trustee
you a message.
Page
Did you
is
get it?
speaking.
That's
Trustee
what
Page is
everybody-
speaking.
No, it's not, but.
Trustee Page is speaking.
Trustee McGovern didn't. respond
Trustee
either.
Geist, you're out of order.
You're right, I am, because I'm not gonna be attacked like that. That was unnecessary. It was unnecessary. Someone who's, what? I didn't
Trustee
attack
Geist,
There
can
was
you
no reason
please
for you to do that.
Remain
But you're
silent.
colluding with the
Trustee
person who had a
Geist,
vote of no
can you
confidence for,
please
so let's make that
remain
on the record as
silent?
well.
You're out of order.
I am, I apologize to the board.
Trustee Robinson, I saw your hand up.
No,
and
I'm just saying roll call vote, please.
Thank you. Roll call vote.
I don't know what we're voting on.
The motion was to approve the hiring of George Phillip as a part-time backup driver and food pantry assistant pursuant to Jim Marino's terms.
You
that he
just said
discussed.
something different.
So we
So
have
now I
a
think there's
first and
something
we have a
within.
second,
I'm
and
s-
we're
I
at
don't
the roll
understand.
call vote. So Clerk Polowitz, can you please call a roll call vote?
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Page?
Yes.
Trustee McGovern?
Yes,
Trustee Dice?
Yes.
Supervisor Hewitt?
Yes. Motion passes. Welcome aboard, George.
good luck.
Next, we have discussion and possible action regarding the refuse pickup service contract for the unincorporated areas of Lisle Township. And we have Township Administrator Jim Marino introducing the topic.
So in your packet, there's information about the residential waste disposal service. The township is currently have a contract with Lakeshore Recycling Systems to provide that service. That contract expires on July 31st. So you're at a point now where you have to, consider renewing that contract. I spoke with Katie at LRS and asked her to provide some options for the township board to consider. So you have in your packet a proposal from LRS, which describes the services they would provide, which is, the same services they have been providing. And then they provided 3 different options. The 3-year, 4-year, and 5-year option. So you have a option for a contract for 3, 4, or 5 years at different price levels. So that's what's before you tonight to consider which of these options you would prefer to go with. As you can see, the 5-year option, which is typical, is the least expensive option for the residents. But you have the option of going with, 3, 4, 5 years, and then whichever term you decide is what will be prepared in the contract to be brought back to you in July for your official approval of the contract based on the term period that you want to go with. I believe Katie is here.
Yes.
We have a back, sorry.
I'll make a
Answer any questions you have.
So you want to I'll make a motion to move into discussion of the possible action on regarding the refuse pickup service contract in unincorporated areas presented by Lakeshore Recycling Service.
Thank you, trustee. Guys, is there a second? Thank you, trustee Page. Interim Township Administrator Jim Marino, were you finished or?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're in discussion and I'd like to recognize Katie, if you have anything else to add.
Well, thank you obviously for allowing me the opportunity to present this proposal to you all. I know that you had asked.
Highway
for
Commissioner, Young, please,
various
silence.
options. The 3, 4, and 5-year options. I do want to mention, I think I gave you like a very long story the last time I was here. And hopefully I didn't put you to sleep, but just to kind of recap on that, we did have some significant increases this past year with the Teamsters, specifically about a 10% labor increase. And as I was driving here, I was thinking, I think that the rates for the 5-year is pretty much where it was when we acquired this contract back 4 years ago. So just to give you an idea. So it's very reasonable. This is an unincorporated area. It's not very dense in terms of route density. So it's spread out. It's not a normal, municipality, so to speak. But you still have the sticker program, which is an extremely great opportunity, especially for seniors. Who may be on a lower, but low budget. Now that program is basically no longer offered the way that it is structured right now. We're going to continue offering that, but usually if you see this option, it'll come with a base fee for, you have to pay something. Because we provide recycling services for everybody. So everybody received a cart and they get the service regardless if they pay us anything. So that is something to keep in mind. So I'm recommending the 5-year. I think that is hands down, not just because it's the best price point, but for the benefit of the residents, you would want to keep the program as is for as long as possible. I don't know what will happen in 5 years. I don't foresee this program going on beyond that. Just because there's some vulnerabilities in there, as I had mentioned before, if you might recall, where, you know, I'm not going to describe it because I don't want to put it out there, but yeah, so I mean, really, if you have any questions about the program, I realize I didn't really, some of you don't live in the unincorporated area, so you might not know the program. But if you have any questions about it, please.
Thank you very much, Katie. Trustee Robinson,
I do live in the unincorporated area, so I use your services. Two questions. One, is this exact, our residents will receive exactly the same services as they're receiving now, correct?
That's correct.
And I noticed on the 5-year, it said there's a 3.5 to 4% increase year one, plus a 4% increase every year after,
Correct.
correct? I didn't see a similar wording in the other, in the,
Right.
in the four.
Yes, you are correct, because the 4 and the 3-year are not spread out the way that the 5-year is for us, so, I mean, you know, it's basically the 65 and 95 gallon carts are what most people have for the trash service, because that's what you're billed on if you have that subscription service. So for the 5-year, it's the best deal, so I didn't put, you know, what the 3 and the 4-year were, because they're higher, but I'm just pointing out that's the best deal is what I was trying to show you.
So a contract for 4 years would have an automatic increase.
The same amount, I'm sorry, it's 4%.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
Yes, 4% regardless, 4% each year.
That's why I was checking. Thank you.
How much is, the
trustee Geist,
how much is the sticker right now?
I wanted to say this for, 7.
And how much is, okay, yeah.
What, how much is it? It's
For,
Would be-
25?
Is it, let me look. I
It's
can-
okay, it's okay. No, I just was checking.
So it
because
is, it's going up 10%.
Well, it's already got, I mean, I remember when the sticker was $1.
Yeah.
Oh, when I bought sticker, I was like,
Yeah.
where have I been in another planet? Yeah, okay, and then, I had a question when we were performing the audit. Right, wasn't it Lake Shore where it was going up, okay, I just want to make sure. So it looks like we might be having a problem, we're gonna have to address it, obviously. But it looks like sometimes trash is maybe getting into the recycling and we're paying a fine for that. Maybe when people are coming to do drop offs of what's
we
it
don't
called?
have Lake Shore with our building, so that's not
Oh,
possible.
it's not, okay, so I
We
got it
have
wrong. That's why I
Republic.
was checking, okay, thanks.
So this is for the home collection.
Okay, just home, okay.
But yeah, we do have a proposal you'll be looking at, I think, in a month or so later, when next month, for that service as well.
Can you, when you do create that proposal, so I'm glad we brought that up, I wouldn't have even known that. When you create that proposal, is that something that you can look at too?
Oh, yeah.
Because we can't control what people are bringing here when office hours are not in play, and it's been a pretty, from the bill, it's like doubling.
Exorbitant.
Yeah,
And that, you know, that's, it's also a problem, I will tell you, just from the industry side as
It is.
well, and I see they're really coming down on that now, where they're putting cameras inside of the dumpsters, so we can see. Because people will have an excessive amount of trash, and if we did that, and we're picking that up at every single stop, people take advantage of that, and we're just losing money, basically. So they have to control it somehow, so in this case, you know, there are options, and I don't know the structure here, so we can talk about it. With whoever's actually over that, where we can put locks on the containers, they, you know, different, there's all kinds of things you can do. But yeah,
I've seen that, the bank next door
yeah,
to me.
it's got like an automatic
Yeah.
lock, and
Yeah.
it's not really my thing, although I've done it for, you know, I've done everything in garbage except for driving trucks, so. I
That
do
sounds
know,
fun.
yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Any other discussion? Township and assessor,
The contract that you have for the monthly fee for yard waste and organic carts. That's what, is that correctly written? It shows monthly fees, $216.
Oh, that's the seasonal fee, I'm sorry.
So should the
Well, I have
monthly,
season right here. I'm
so
sorry.
should the monthly be scratched off the top end?
Um,
That would be number one.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I will scratch that on the touch. Holidays. Set and reset. Yeah, it's a seasonal rate, so it's for 8 months, basically, of weekly yard waste service in a cart. And you can mix food scraps in with that as well.
And a
Love
reminder,
that, yeah.
we need to come to a decision as to how many years we're going to be signing with. So is there any other trustee that would want to remark or make a motion?
You had a motion in discussion.
Right, so we're in discussion. We can close discussion if somebody wants to make a motion to close discussion and make a motion to adopt a certain year.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt.
Trustee McGovern.
Could,
So we raise our hand.
could I just ask a point of order here?
Clerk
Question?
Holowitz.
You have a motion on the floor for discussion. Do you want to just
close
vote
it?
on
Yeah.
that? And then it's over, and then you can make a motion to approve and put your
Okay,
time frame
okay,
on? That way we
would,
might
so I
adjust.
think it was, trustee Geist who wanted to make a motion to not allow discussion. Or sorry, to not raise your hands and to abrogate our rules. That requires a 2/3 vote. Just a reminder, so.
That's what I said.
So I'm just explaining what this is going to entail. So we have one motion here. Is there a second?
We,
Oh, wait,
could I ask, yeah, go ahead.
first up, the first motion and the second was for the discussion. Trustee Geis, the next would be, we could just go right forward into a motion to vote on X, whatever year the board would like to do. I think trustee McGovern was about to
I was about to.
state it, but I didn't hear the rest of the motion, so we can't continue further with that until we go forward.
So you don't close out the first one
No.
by a vote?
If it's a
you just
discussion.
leave it?
It's just a discussion.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I don't know that.
Trustee McGovern.
I would like to first discuss that I believe that the 5-year plan is the most economical. And in that regard, I would like to make a motion to approve the 5-year pricing proposal effective August 1st of 2024 with LRS waste disposal.
I agree. And so we have a second with trustee Page.
I'll second, yes.
Thank you, and a roll call vote.
Trustee McGovern,
Yes.
trustee Page,
Yes.
trustee Geis,
Yes.
trustee Robinson,
Yes.
supervisor Hewitt.
Yes. Passes.
Thank you. And I'm done.
The motion passes for a 5-year program. Thank you.
So thank you all.
Katie.
Thank you for your time.
Katie,
I
thank you.
will correct that, take that all fixed and be in touch. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great night.
Yeah.
And we're gonna come back then to the motion to suspend the rules. Is that that we're saying?
Oh, that was brought up since trustee Geis mentioned it.
Right.
Uh,
It sounded like,
no, she was asking something separate.
okay,
Sure was.
then we'll keep moving.
Yeah, we're on
then.
item 7.
Great. Number 7, so you all have the accountant's reports. In there, you also have the report of, from the accountant telling you where we were at with the audit and where we're at with the transition over to Auerbach and back over to Thompson and Reuters product. So it has taken longer than expected, and they also expect the audit to be up shortly. Highway Commissioner Young.
Have they started audit for this year or last fiscal year? And what seems to be the problem with the 22?
And as we can see from what they wrote, they said that the audit is still in progress. We have met. Okay, great. So we have met with the auditors and are working through numerous issues related to multiple prior years in QuickBooks. None of the prior audit adjustments were booked to QuickBooks, and the prior auditors must have been keeping their own set of books. This has caused the issue with fiscal year 2022 fund balance not matching beginning numbers for fiscal year 2023. We're very close to sorting through that and have received the adjustments from prior year audits to be able to correct and make sure the numbers are accurate for the fiscal year 23 audit.
That was known at the beginning of the audit.
So it has
Has
taken,
everybody from the township met with the outside audit?
yes,
And what did they say?
again, they're constantly trying to come up with the agreed upon ending balances. And so Township Administrator Marino and myself and trustee Robinson at various times have all met with the auditors. And we've continued to work with Kelly and Jacob to make sure that this continues to progress.
When do the auditors, the independent auditors, think they'll be done?
I heard that it would be within the month, and so I'm hoping that we would be seeing the audit next month.
Are they gonna send out a draft? Annual report before they're doing it?
Yes,
Are they gonna provide the trustees with all the adjustment mechanisms that they're reporting?
I would assume that's what they do every year. Trustee McGovern.
I just wanted to comment that I was in the audit of expenditures with Jake. And he said it could have been done tonight, or he thought maybe it would, but he wasn't sure. It's getting close. So that's what I heard. So we're really close. Is what I heard.
Thank you. It's good.
Okay, then moving on to agenda item 8. Does somebody want to make a motion to
I'd like to make a motion to go into.
trustee McGovern?
I'd like to make a motion to go into the audit of expenditures, bills and claims.
I'm sorry, could you be more specific, the language on the, maybe
I
to
would like-
conduct, to go into?
I would like to make a motion to enter into the audit of expenditures.
Thank you.
For the month of May.
Thank you, trustee McGovern.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Robinson. And a roll call vote, please.
Trustee McGovern,
Yes.
trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Page.
Yes.
Trustee Geist.
Yeah.
Supervisor Hewitt.
Yes. Agenda item 9, approval of bills and claims.
Yeah.
Trustee McGovern.
We pulled a few items, and I would like to have a discussion regarding those pulled invoices. And checks.
So I think we're just,
So trustee Geist,
Okay,
trustee McGovern.
the main, one of the main concern. Let's go with the checks first. Check number 51159, Management of America. Which I don't remember which one
I
that
think
was
that's the
unless I
one.
see the
I think that's
invoice.
one. I think the concern is,
Trustee Geist.
wait, can we just make a motion to?
We did it together, so as
Okay.
a team, we did audit together.
Yeah, so we both have things that we're probably gonna discuss on this, so I'm gonna make a motion to dismiss raising our hand as we share the things that we had concerns about. Can I get a second?
Second, I would like to discuss because it was. kind of-
Trustee Geist and trustee McGovern and roll call vote. Clerk Palowitz.
Trustee Geist.
Yes.
Trustee McGovern.
Yes.
Trustee Page.
No.
Trustee Robinson.
No.
Supervisor Hewitt.
No.
We don't want to.
Okay, so one at a time, we're just going through these and following the rules so that it's easier for the public to follow as well. Anybody want to raise their hand?
Okay.
And you get 2 times to
Let's make
speak.
this adjustment.
So
Mhm.
again, trustee McGovern, this is the first time for 3
Can I see
minutes.
the paperwork, please, in order to.
I don't
explain,
have
because
the
we had-
paperwork.
I
It's
remember. it.
trustee.
You remember it?
Yeah.
This first one I
Or
don't
it's
remember.
Clerk Palowitz that has all.
Management of America. It was a banking that was closing down, or that's the credit card.
I was just gonna make a suggestion.
Management of America's
Could I be
consultant.
recognized, please?
Okay.
So do you have anything else, trustee McGovern?
Which one is it?
Could I just make a suggestion, please?
Clerk Palowitz.
Maybe you'd like to make a motion to approve the audit of expenditures
Except
with the
for,
exception of these
Those three.
checks.
yes, yeah,
And
let's
then
do
you want
that
to
because
discuss.
yeah, we need to dig and look at those bills too. I can't discuss pricing and specifics without seeing them. I would like to make a motion to,
Wait, go ahead.
Okay, so do we want to take a recess so you can find the
No,
bills and
no,
go
I
from
was
there?
just
Or
going to-
because we
I-
can't really
if
make. a
there's more
motion without-
discussion,
knowing
Hear
what
more
we're
discussion?
talking about.
Here's my motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve the audited expenditures except for check number 51159. Which is Management of America, number 51177. Tax with,
It's the wrong one.
the tax is the wrong amount. And then 51105 equaling, and there was no approving signature. And then we need another signature or approval on comment. So I would like to approve the audit expenditures once again, with the exception of those three mentioned checks.
Sounded like there's
Second
four.
one was a wrong tax amount on check number 51177.
So one at a time
Yeah.
and with the approval.
Pile. He has it. Okay.
I think we have to discuss it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Take cancel the motion.
Well, we can approve them and just fold them, but it'd be more convenient and more efficient to approve them all at once we understood what these were and how to
How are we gonna talk
get a
about
signature,
it?
if it's that easy.
Oh, are
You
you
know?
waiving your motion right now?
I
or-
will waive my motion.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for
So we're
that.
still in discussion?
Can I ask you a question?
Highway Commissioner Young,
There was a line item for payments for the property taxes on the new building. And it's beyond the date. One, so the amount's gonna go up. And two, why are you paying the whole thing as opposed to paying just the 50%?
Oh, okay,
Did
Yeah,
somebody
that's the
answer
one.
the question?
that's the one.
I thought that's what it was. That's
No,
what-
there's Management of America Consulting.
Yeah.
This is the recruitment.
So,
trustee guys.
okay, so there's a couple questions I had. I know that we retained this agency. This is not to be a broken record, but this is what I do all day. I've never been paid until the position has been filled. So this looks more to me, this is a retainer, which if they never deliver, you've already paid them $16,000. Whereas we were advised that there are government agencies, websites where you can just pay $200 to replace the position. And then we save our taxpayers over $16,500, which makes prudent sense. So I'm not sure why we would pay $16,000 to source this position. Also, we agreed to continue having a township administrator, but I don't know when we agreed to hire a permanent salaried employee. So there's a couple of different questions here on the table. I know that you three have already signed off on the quote, because I saw that your three signatures on it. So I know that signed up, but we didn't discuss that. We didn't discuss it as a board. And again, we're operating in a silo when the three of you have signed an agreement that had never even been presented before the entire board. I don't understand why we would pay $16,000 before they've delivered a candidate, or why we're even looking for a full-time person when that's not what we agreed to.
So trustee guys, to answer your questions, one, we're not paying 16,000 for that. We actually discussed that and improved that at the last board meeting. And part of the contract was that we would pay half of the amount prior to them being hired. The other piece is that
Why?
10,000, because that's a part of their contract, half before. The other part is that the same company is charging us for our current township administrator.
Correct?
So that 10,000 is going to that township administrator that we've been currently already incurred services. So that is why that there is a $16,000 fee.
So
So-
which part is for the new person? I'm sorry.
I believe that
It's an
That it was a
$80,000
12
salary, right?
it
So
was a
16
12 current trustee, guys, if you would let me finish. There is the bill, which is right on the
Yeah.
document. So there's two different bills.
Mhm.
And one is for the township administrator, which is, there's the recruitment, and how much was that?
10,000.
Okay, and how much is the current township administrators? The other portion is what, 6,000 then?
No, no. Well, there's $2,000 for advertising. And then there is a $5,000. I don't know what this reference is.
So part of the contract is that we would pay for the advertising for the position for the recruitment.
12,000. And then I don't know where the other fees, monies come in. But, at last month's monthly
Maybe they can
meeting, I
explain it.
don't believe. We agreed to proceed with, South temps,
Mhm.
but the virtual recruitment?
Was.
Is
what
that
was
how we got a
agreed to.
candidate from St. Louis that we were supposed to room and board? Or what is virtual recruitment?
That was the package that was agreed to. So
That's the
if you
most
look and see, this is at the last township meeting, there's under township administrator. Under here is the recruitment proposal that had been given to everyone, and this passed at the last board meeting. And this is when we agreed to do this in public as a group.
I think I.
And this in
misunderstood.
here is
Yeah.
the recruitment of the three different options of, do we want to do the limited scope? This is the first one. This is the virtual recruitment option. So it does say specifically advertising costs are going to be this much. The first invoice would be 50% of the recruitment fee. So that's what we agreed to last month.
I'm just trying to understand why we would agree to that, though. Like, why wouldn't we let them hire someone first and then we pay them for the service that they provided?
Okay, that was last month's discussion.
Have that conversation.
Trustee McGovern,
My issue too is the purchase request does not match the invoice. The purchase request is for $12,000 and the check is for $16,760.
There's 320.
I know, but what does that mean? GHR?
It's go temp HR perhaps.
I know, but so one fee's 10,000, so maybe there's tax on that, but that's not the 5,000 here. This line item is not, it
This
doesn't
is the-
explain what that
this is
is.
the same company that we pay for Jim's.
I understand
service.
what the company is. I'm asking about the line items, the fees. I see $12,000 has been approved. However, the check is for almost $17,000. What are the extra fees for?
Again, this is for Jim's work. Every month, it costs about
Is
that
it not
much
on here?
different.
It's not on there, so it's unclear.
There should be receipts underneath there for Jim's work.
Seems like they should be separate payments. Separate invoices. To keep it clean.
Okay, in the last, if you can look on the screen, it was 11,760 for the work that was done during this period. To Gov HR temps.
For the consulting, let's be
For-
clear.
for-
Yeah, so just call the consulting work. Yeah, we got it. Okay, consulting work, right?
But still, the check
Versus
doesn't make
sourcing.
sense.
So these are the invoices. right?
So if he's getting paid 11,000, we owe 10,000 and 2,000, we still haven't paid what has been requested.
That's because we're paying 50% of what,
The 5 is half of the 10. Okay,
And then the back line is the 11,000. Which is for Jim's time. And then that plus the 5,000 is 16,000.
okay,
I just
Okay,
think
that's a-
consulting services should be separate from recruiting services. That's how you made it less confusing.
okay, it's going to the same company. So we've moved beyond that
okay, so
one.
that's
I just
rectified.
have one question on that.
Clerk Palovitz.
What was not clear in last month's motion, nor was it clear in the discussion,
Right.
because it was both ways, is some of the conversation was that it was for temporary personnel, and other conversation of last month was that it was a permanent personnel to be hired. So that was not clear in the motion nor the conversation of last month. So would
That's
you
where the
like to
confusion-
clarify that?
It was perfectly clear. I'm pretty positive within the people that approved it. And it was repeated several times that this was for a permanent position.
If you go back and
Um,
watch the
you
tape,
said
it
that.
doesn't.
Clerk Palovitz, thank you.
No, you
Any
said
other
that.
discussion? It
They
was said
didn't.
in the meeting at the time.
Okay.
No, because
Uh,
the trustees, that's not what we heard. There were two different things said. That's why we were confused.
It was literally verbatim said in the last meeting on tape. it's not what I'm saying, I'm saying that this is what was said and
You
what
said
was
it
understood.
good, but we didn't understand that. That's what we're trying to explain to you.
Okay, trustee Robinson and trustee Page were the two that approved this. Did you hear
With
that
you.
and did you understand that, trustee Robinson and trustee Page? Trustee Robinson,
Yes, it was for full-time administrator role. Yes.
thank you, trustee Robinson. And did you hear that, trustee
We
Page?
did, and this was based on the recommendation of the admin, the temp admin. His work here has revealed that there's a lot more that needed to be done. We had this discussion last month.
And you did.
Can I just remind the board, we are on just discussing the audits and bills and claims right now. We're not talking about what was voted and discussed upon last meeting.
Thank you. So we're gonna stay with the topic is there was another tax amount. It was 51177. For the tax amount that was paid. What we were told was that by Assessor Trowbridge that we should pay it and then that the county would pay us back the amount that was overdue. Or that was not, that was due back to us. That's what the accountant heard. I'm positive that that's what I heard, that it would be refunded back. So that's why that was being done. We did put it into out of the assessor's line item, so it's being paid out of the capital expenditure budget line item. Trustee Geist.
So just so you know, that part wasn't clear. And when we're sitting in the audit, we're sitting in the audit with the accountant. He did say that we asked, good questions and that we noticed things that we, it's good that we're asking the questions we do. But in that discussion with him, he didn't say that. And I'm not throwing you under, I'm just saying that that wasn't made clear then. So it's good that you're answering that question now, but just so you know, that's why we pulled it. It wasn't just because we were just pulling it. So I didn't think it was clear. And he didn't.
Is there another check?
It's for the taxes.
It's for the taxes for
Well-
22121 Ogden Avenue with the purchase that we previously made of the building.
Do you want to go?
Why?
Highway Commissioner Young.
I asked you before, why are we paying all for the tax? And why are we paying the other?
We're paying the whole amount because that's what we were advised to do from the assessor. That
We're not.
Okay.
You were
Jim,
not.
interim township administrator, Jim Marino, were you there? I think you were there.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Were you there when Assessor Trowbridge said that we should pay the whole amount and that we would be refunded back from the county anything that was not due?
Well, those are two
Because of the
different
time.
things. Pay the whole amount, but in installments, or pay the whole amount in
Yes.
full. So
Yeah.
which was, I can see how that might be. a
Trustee Geist.
misunderstanding.
So we
No, I
raise our
can see how that
hands,
could be a misunderstanding.
understand.
Paying the whole thing, like, yes, we should pay it and get reimbursed the difference, but yours, it's interpreting that as pay the whole thing at once. He said pay it in installments, but pay it in full and you would get the reimbursement. So what was your understanding?
I don't recall, actually.
Okay.
Again, we're muddling down to what he said, she said of previous meetings and discussions. We're on talking about audits of bills and claims.
Right, but
Item
you want
nine.
to pay the whole bill, that's the
Can I
point.
just-
If you want to pass it, you can pass that check. We'll just move on to the next check and
What,
go
it's
forward.
just, it's being pulled. Can I
But
be
it's late.
recognized, please?
Clerk Fowler.
Yeah, it's only being pulled. I'm sorry, were you listening or?
I'm listening.
Okay, it's only being pulled because the amount on the check is not right, because we are late. We've incurred a late charge. So we have a check there for the full amount of the taxes, but because it's late, it's due on June 3rd and it's June 11th, we owe them more money. So the amount of the check is incorrect. That's the only reason it's pulled, is to get a check that's accurate,
And-
to the invoice.
and- So we
Okay,
make it
and
in
to
two
be,
payments.
and I haven't recognized you, we did alert the board, as soon as we got this check. It was after the last meeting, so since we pay our bills once a month, we couldn't pay it any earlier. We literally are paying it at the very first time, an opportunity that we can pay it.
You can cut a check every day.
We really cannot do that without board approval, and this has well over the amount of board approval. And we do that once a month. Is there any other discussion,
You-
or do we want to pull
Yes,
this
there's more
check?
discussion. You cut
Trustee
checks,
Geist.
you cut checks every day. I've come in and signed them.
For
That's not
general
a reason. It
assistance?
doesn't matter. A check can be cut outside of once a month. And what we're suggesting is, this check has to be pulled. It's gonna have to be voided. We need to find out the new amount with the late fee and then split it in the two payments so that we're not paying it, we're not bringing it full now. We do half now and half later. So that's what I think that's what I'm saying. Is that what you are thinking? Okay, that's two. I mean.
So you're
I'm
proposing
sure-
to pay half of this and pull this check? Okay,
Hey,
that's part of what
no,
the
no,
motion is. Do
Find
we
out the
want to
new
go on?
amount. That's
to
not
the-
what I said. Find out the new amount with the late fee. That's the first step. Then make two separate payments. Don't bring it whole.
Okay, so that's your motion. We'll go on to the next
made my
one. We'll go, that's fine. We can, this is going to be a full, like, paying of our bills. So there's two other pieces on here. There's Eco Lane.
Oh,
That
there's
was up
another one,
for,
too. ComEd, it only has one signature. Would you like to accompany that one? One more signature on the ComEd bill.
and then there's an Eco Lane.
I'm getting there. Eco Lane is annual maintenance. I don't remember what Eco Lane was about.
That's a software.
That's the
Oh, that's the
software.
software. We just had
So,
questions.
yeah, and I have a couple questions. The first question
Thank you.
is,
Trustee Geist.
do we still have two vans?
Yes, we do.
We do?
Yes,
So there's two vans out here right now?
indeed.
And is the second van operational?
Yes,
So we've been paying for two vans when we didn't have two drivers all this time? for it?
yes, we have. Is there a question related to Eco Lane's payment? That is neither, it doesn't matter how many vehicles we have. For
You
Eco Lane.
said we're on the question of Eco Lane, so we
Correct.
should go back to the number of vehicles. You already did, let's move on, so.
I guess my question is just to clarify the annual expense. So per truck, it's $3,400.
No, having Eco Lane is 3,400.
The software.
Having
okay.
the
And
software,
you can put two on it.
you
so
can
it's just the
place
software.
15
Okay.
on there,
And this is once a year,
once a year.
big renewal, okay.
I thought there was something else.
Maybe it was the food pantry software that was less.
No, we were, frankly, this was talked about and discussed at the last meeting. But because it was later we got that bill on the 8th. The same day that we were having the meeting, so it wasn't actually done in the end. So this is why it's here. It has not been paid twice.
Okay, so everything has been answered and resolved, except for check number 5177. So I would like to make a motion to approve May's audit of expenditures with the exception of check number 5177 due to an incorrect tax amount.
So you wish to pay half of it
Yes,
and then.
well,
um,
I think it should
Find out
be
the
done
amount.
immediately, but I would clarify.
So you're approving half of it,
Yes,
correct?
approving half
With the late
with
fee.
the late fee. if
Okay.
there is a late fee.
And then we have a second.
Yes.
Okay, we're at discussion and I saw Highway Commissioner Young.
That amount will be $11,008.41.
Highway or interim township administrator, Marino, did you have your hand up? Okay, trustee Robinson.
I just want to confirm, the check number is 51177.
Correct.
Okay, you said a different number, so I just want to make sure.
For 51177. Okay, and then we have a second, and so we'll go, any other discussion? And a roll call vote,
Please,
please.
a second.
Geist, trustee Geist.
Thank you. Trustee McGovern,
Yes.
trustee Geist,
Yes.
trustee Page.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Supervisor Hewitt.
Yes. Okay, moving on to the supervisor's report. There's been a whole lot of really great things that have happened in the community that I want to make sure people realize. The DuPage County Free Vaccine and Microchip Clinic is on for Saturday, the 15th. In Oak Brook, Saturday, the 29th, and July, the 20th. We are having our lovely school, school supplies drive right now until July 12th, and it's on the website for all the things that we're looking to acquire. We have worked with the DuPage Health Coalition. There's some fabulous opportunities for that are helping people meet their needs for medical insurance and for getting help with getting pharmaceuticals. There's medical debt care for DuPage County. That's again helping with making sure that people have the care that they need. When it comes to the township, the food pantry did 727 people were served, 713 children. The shelves were assembled from the grant that we received in general assistance. $11,105 was given out. The general assistance director fielded 271 caseworker calls. The spreadsheet for the township costs has been updated with April and May's costs, as well as the amount of trips from PACE. So last month there were 678 rides with PACE, and the township costs have continued to stabilize. The grant updates, there's two different grants that we've been focused on. The state appropriation, which was passed in the 2025 budget, kept the two appropriations that we have. We're likely to go forward with the maintenance company, which would then allow us in the next month, which would then allow us to get more details and move forward with one of the grants. The other grant, we have yet to hear whom in DCO that we would be contacting. The latest DuPage County ARPA grant are in question currently. They received more applications than they had the money to cover in February. And so in the back, I show all the different townships amounts that have been received. We would be receiving the least amount in total than any township and especially when you add in the fact that we are the fourth most populous. So if you have any opinions on this, the county board members that may have influence. So that's what's going on with the grants and with the township. Any other questions? Okay, then moving on.
I have a question on the grants.
Yes, sir.
I sent out all the emails between you and that state.
Yes.
I asked you at the last meeting to send out the last email. But anyways, the $60,000 grant, somehow the state got a hold of the proposal for the reskinning on my building. And they sent that back, and I think what they were saying was that would qualify for the $60,000. If that's true, let's apply for the grant for that. And then the road district would reimburse the township for 60% of my salary for the current year. And that way you'd get the money up front, and then you could go through it.
So the law,
Just a suggestion.
okay, and the law only allows us to take 50% of a road district salary, so we can't exactly do that, and
Well, you could do it for 2 years.
we can't. Could township attorney,
Not my understanding, but if it's something that the township wants our firm to look into, Attorney Sackler and I could look into, but I'm not positive.
No.
2 years, I don't think so, but
okay,
I don't think. You're right about the 50% though.
All right.
Okay.
It's just a suggestion to free up the money, but that's fine. If the supervisor doesn't want to do it, that's.
okay. Moving on to the supervisors, to the proclamation in support of Pride Month. Whereas June 2024 marks the 55th annual celebration throughout the United States of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, LGBTQIA Pride Month, and whereas the month of June was chosen to commemorate the dedication and bravery of those who led the 1969 uprising at the Stonewall Tavern in Greenwich Village, which sparked the modern LGBTQIA and liberation movement. Whereas the Lisle Township believes in working together with all members of our community to facilitate open relationships, providing safety, dignity, and welcoming environment for our residents and visitors. And whereas the meaningful contributions made by our LGBTQIA community enhance our township's diverse history and culture. Whereas Lisle Township joins the LGBTQIA community to celebrate diversity, unity, and remains committed to treating all people with fairness and respect. Now therefore do I, Diane Hewitt, Supervisor of Lisle Township, Illinois, do at this moment proclaim the month of June 2024 in Lisle Township as Pride Month. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Lisle Township, Illinois, to be affixed this 12th day of June 2024. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 12, discussion and possible action about amending the Bear landscaping contract. And I'm going to
I'll make a motion to move into discussion about amending the Barrett landscape contract.
okay, and thank
Second.
you, trustee Geist, and then another
Second.
trustee Page, and then township administrator Marino, if you want to introduce the topic.
So in your packet, you have information that on April 19th, the board approved an agreement with Bear Landscape Group to continue to maintain the landscaping around the supervisor building. Part of the area that they cut, and they've cut in the past, is the retention pond. That was left out of the area identified for the cutting, so they did not include that in their cost. So what this does is it revises the contract to include the cost for cutting the retention pond, which is the same as what they've done in past years.
And that is just increased it by,
Trustee Geist,
that increased it by how much?
For the entire 7-month season, it would be $1,155.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment of the contract to include the extra. What am I gonna say, acreage, square footage of service to be cut?
Yes.
Second,
thank you, trustee Robinson and trustee McGovern, and then a roll call vote, please.
trustee Robinson,
Yes.
trustee McGovern,
Yes.
trustee Geist,
Yes.
trustee Page,
Yes.
supervisor Hewitt.
Yes, thank you. Next, we have agenda item 13, approval and ratification of settlements of outstanding tax objection claims pending against Lisle Township for tax years 2019 and 2018. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve this, and then we can go into discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve it. And I'll make a motion for the approval and ratification of settlements of outstanding tax objection claims pending against Lisle Township for tax years 2019 and 2019. Case numbers 2020-1 and 2019-2.
Thank you, trustee Geist.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Robinson. Now we're in discussion. Highway Commissioner Young.
How much were the objections?
Is that being referred to me? Or,
There's somebody just answered the question.
so in here, if you see here, there's $3,000 in the
How much
first.
was the objection?
I didn't have that information.
Attorney Seckler,
Attorney Seckler had it.
and is discussed, board, Attorney Seckler said they discussed with you, at the last meeting, and, this is just to approve the settlement.
How much was the objection?
Well, we discussed it in executive session. Can that number be disclosed? That's at executive session.
It wasn't.
Well,
It is discussed in executive session, it stays in executive session.
So each amount is $3,000 per, so it's $6,000 of what we would be paying.
What percent of the objections?
Again, that would be saying what was in executive session. It was a very small amount on the dollars. Pennies on the dollar. Is that an accurate way of characterizing this?
I think so.
Okay.
Objection.
Any other discussion? And a roll call vote, clerk Palovich.
Trustee Geist,
Yeah.
trustee Robinson,
Yes.
trustee McGovern,
Yes.
trustee Page.
Yes.
Supervisor Hewitt.
Yes. Okay, the motion passes. Discussion and possible action about setting the next 2 decennial committee meetings. And what I would be proposing is that an hour before the next meeting in July, so July 8th, July 10th is the next meeting. We would have the next decennial committee meeting, and then an hour before the August meeting, so on August 14th, we would be having the second decennial committee meeting so that we could get to giving a report in time to, in time. Does that sound agreeable, or does anybody have other times or dates that we would like to meet?
That'd be a motion by a trustee member for those proposed dates.
I would like to propose the
Daniel,
decennial meeting dates to be July 10th prior to the board meeting in August 14th. At what time?
now,
5:30.
5:30 as well.
Thank you.
A second.
Thank you, trustee McGovern and trustee Page. Any other discussion?
What time?
5:30. And a roll call vote, please.
Trustee McGovern,
Yes.
trustee Page,
Yes.
trustee Geist,
Yes.
trustee Robinson,
Yes.
supervisor Hewitt.
Yes. Okay, next is the consent agenda. And I would like to make a comment that this on page 2, it says the township administrator's position is looking to be filled with a new full-time administrator. It was noted by trustee Robinson that our current administrator is leaving because he was fed up with the board.
Yes. It's. I mentioned that to you,
That's what you said.
township administrator, Marina.
Yeah.
It's on the, I mentioned that to you and how uncomfortable that was, 'cause
So, does anybody want to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion for the consent agenda.
Thank you, trustee Geis. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, trustee McGovern, and then we're in discussion. And a roll call vote, please.
Okay, trustee Geist,
Yes.
trustee McGovern,
Yes.
trustee Page.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson,
Yes.
supervisor Hewitt.
Yes. Now we're in old business. New business, trustee Geis.
No, I'm good.
Okay, reports of elected officials.
I don't know.
Highway Commissioner Young,
I have a report.
trustee Geis.
Okay, thank you. I met with Kim White of the Career Networking Center. And I have invited her to come to our July meeting to present about all of the great things that the Career Networking Center is doing. It looks like we have a calculation. I know that people have been asking about the numbers of Lisle Township residents who are participating, and the number was like 47, which is a pretty low number. But I wanted her to come to the meeting and just share about what she's doing so that we have a better understanding about what we're allocating $10,000 to. And I'm also really excited to share that I'll be working more closely with them as a coach and helping people, our constituents with their job search, and also giving some webinars on best practice. So really, really excited about being able to really create a deeper relationship, not so passive, like a real relationship collaboratively with the Career Networking Center. So really excited about that. Thank you. They did it great. They trust me. Excited. It's just, it was an honor. I felt really excited about it. So. And I think it just opens the door for us to have more of a relationship and a presence with what they're doing and understanding. So I hope you're all excited about it. Do we need a letter, an email requesting that for Kim White to be added as a presenter? Or how does that work so that it gets on the agenda?
She'll be on the agenda.
Awesome. Thank you. She's excited. She's gonna come in person.
Great, and I also requested her to do that as well. Any other elected officials reports? Trustee Robinson?
Yeah, I'll just follow up from last meeting, talking about, board governance, reached out to TOI for training. They gave me some suggestions, but fundamentally their suggestion is in-person training that they hold at the end of the year, which is in November timeframe, so.
You need it.
Wow. So the other option is I've reached out to, our attorney, township attorney, for some guidance on other options they may have, so I'll bring those to the next board meeting, so thank you.
Thank you, trustee Robinson, and then trustee Page.
I had a chat with Jordan recently, and I had mentioned a personal products drive that we had done probably back in late 2021 or 2022. And he's very interested. So if anybody is, anybody has any ideas on how to do something like that, when we did this before, I think we put our bins in the libraries in Woodridge.
I actually led that with Lisa Rose.
Yes, well, Lisa, I wasn't aware that you were involved, but yeah,
Yeah.
so like Lisle, Woodridge,
Yeah,
part of Naperville.
we put them in each of the
Yeah,
libraries.
yeah, so he said
Trustee
wildly
Page's
successful and would absolutely like more.
Awesome.
And then-
I will work.
So
with
it's
him to
trustee
get that.
Page's time. Thank you,
Then
trustee guys.
The last thing is, and this would be for all of us as the board, that I think you all know that I volunteered the township to host the August Township Legislative Council. So that's coming up, right? So this is something I would like to kind of plan together. We get a meal allowance. I've been in touch with Nicole Freder, I think her name is, and she expecting 10 to 20 roughly. So I know that we're tight for space here, but I really think that I'd like us to present our township to the rest of them and be proud of it. So.
Love it.
Thank you, trustee Page. We've already heard from you, trustee Geist. Any other?
Well, I forgot I had something for old business. I apologize.
Okay, so we've moved on
Fast.
into
like
reports
to
of
go back-
elected
I'd like to go
officials.
back to old business really quickly. I forgot.
So we would need a vote of 2/3 to change the amendment, to change the schedule.
We're not changing the schedule. I forgot something. You look so.
So
fast.
we're on agenda item 18. Old business is 2 agenda items up. So we would have to have,
It's okay. Let it show. That's fine.
to change the agenda,
It's
it
all
would
right.
be 2/3 of a vote.
Of course,
Okay.
and 2/3 would be you, trustee Robinson and trustee
Trustee
Page. Very
Geis.
convenient. Let's go forward. Go ahead, move on.
Okay. We don't need
Could-
an
could
exec,
I have an elected official?
sure, trustee, or clerk Hollowitz.
I want to thank the trustees very, very much for directing the supervisor several times to get the printer, scanner, copier for my office. I do have it now. It is not the one that was suggested by the IT guys. And the reason I rejected that is because it was suggested that we get a $2,000 printer. That's not what I was doing. I was just getting a printer, scanner, copier for the office, because when I was kicked out of here, I don't have use of the printer, scanner, copier. So I have that. I was able to put everything online that I have. Anything that's not online, I do not have. I've not received. So we're back in business, and I want to thank you very much, because I know I took several times for a motion and directive to get it done. So I thank you very much. I also wish the Lisle Education Foundation a really great golf outing tomorrow. It's their big fundraiser, and it is always a fun time, huge success, and it supplements our children's education in Lisle District 202. And that's it.
Okay. An executive session is not necessary. It appears, does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Robinson and trustee Page. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. See you all next month.
Please, I need your signatures for the